really interesting coming back from the offsite build center. It kind of reminds me, just in my previous industry, of orthopedics in the evolution that took place in the past couple of years. It was really cool that, there were a couple physicians and some really smart people that figured out a way to use a hammer in surgery more effectively. So they basically took something they'd been doing for, 50 plus years in orthopedics and made it more consistent, more efficient, and easier for the doctors to use. And you just kind of see that efficiency in those processes, how that improved that industry and, for example, hip replacements, but now looking at the building and what's kind of taking place there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm thinking about when I was, first started building back in like 2000, thinking about like the technology that existed, it's like the old Nextel, the walkie-talkie phones, and you had like the Garmin GPS thing, and like good cruise control was kind of starting to come out, and like you're sitting here having a conversation, your hands aren't on the wheel.
Cruise control, why not just be on the self-driving vehicle right now?
Full self-driving with a thing that has all this technology. But then I think about construction, and you look at traditional site-built construction, it looks exactly the same as it did in 2000. I mean, it's completely the same. And, just after, just spending a day at the offsite build center, seeing how the process comes together in a efficient time where you can start to finish do a build with 2x6 walls, 2x10 floors, exactly the same, process parts, but you can do it in under 2 weeks and just see this thing come together. And then, not to mention this thing's raised for 180 miles an hour.
Well, it makes total sense when you're in the build center and you actually see how there are multiple, basically multiple rows that are going down simultaneously in parallel. So multiple processes are taking place at once in the build center. And when you think about being back, on site, that the foundation, the first floor is being built at the same time the other floors are being built in that build center. All these parallel processes are just creating that efficiency that, quite honestly, I'm surprised that the building industry hasn't adopted, previously.
Yeah, I mean, the construction is just known as like a last adopter, and they're so slow on it. And I know you and I, you live in Indian Rocks Beach, I live in North Rankin Beach, and thinking about those tight build sites that lining up all these trucks and getting deliveries, and guys complaining about parking and all these other things, that when all the stuff's there, and it's just amazing to see how smooth the process is when, there's bunks and bunks of plywood and drywall, and that's all in a conditioned environment, and it could just go right from one stage to the next. And the guy that's, doing the floor system, he only does floor systems. That's all he does. I mean, it kind of sounds boring, but the guy's an expert in floor systems. And to see how the ceiling system is constructed upside down, and how by flipping a process literally on its back ensures for smoother drywall finishes and, tighter building envelope, things that you just wouldn't think about because you just can't do them in a normal setting, but you lay things down flat and you give appropriate space. I mean, it's 100,000 square foot facility, so obviously there's no build site that has that much covered conditioned space. So what you can do is really amazing.
When I see that, obviously controlled environment with the weather being controlled in there, it's not just the rain, and thinking about traditional building sitting on the traditional wood just sitting in that weather, in that rain and things like that. But I also think about the laborers, the contractors who are out there working in 100-degree heat. I can't imagine, holding up the plywood, holding up the drywall in these, environments. This is just such a better environment for them as well. So really amazing to see that, live and in person, and just getting a deeper understanding. Just makes you more convicted. The more you see it, the more you're convicted that it's absolutely the right way to provide a faster, stronger, elevated product in our market.
For sure, I agree with that.